Why knowing these 7 signs can change your future after 70. Have you ever stood quietly in front of a mirror, gazing into your own reflection, not just at the wrinkles, or the silver in your hair, but deeper, wondering, how much more time do I truly have? It's a question that visits us, uninvited, more often as the years accumulate. After all, once we reach 70, every sunrise feels a little more precious, every laugh a little more sacred. But what if I told you that your body, right now, is offering clues, silent but profound, about your future lifespan? Through my decades as a physician and researcher, working side by side with hundreds of patients gracefully navigating their later years, I began noticing patterns. Subtle signs. Tiny shifts that, when pieced together, form a vivid picture of the journey ahead. Today, I want to share these insights with you, not to alarm you, but to empower you. Because when we understand the language of our bodies, we gain the power to change our destinies. In this journey together, you'll discover 7 scientifically backed signs that predict how long you might live after 70. These aren't just statistics in dusty textbooks, they are real patterns observed in vibrant centenarians, sharp-minded octogenarians, and even those who, sadly, lost the battle too soon. But I want to make you a promise. This isn't just about identifying risks. It's about uncovering opportunities to extend not just the length but the richness of your life. Stay with me till the very end, because buried in these insights are simple changes, small yet mighty shifts, that could mean the difference between surviving and thriving in the years to come. And if you listen closely, you might hear your own body whispering. You still have time to write the ending you desire. Let's begin. And perhaps the most surprising predictor is something so simple, you can test it right now in your living room. And now, we stand together at the end of this quiet journey, a journey through balance, strength, movement, rest, nourishment, resilience, and connection. 7 signs. 7 silent messages. 7 whispers from your body, offering you a glimpse into the future still waiting to be written. Maybe today you recognized yourself in some of these stories. Maybe you noticed small stumbles in your balance, a weakening handshake, slower footsteps, nights of broken sleep, a fading appetite, stress you can no longer ignore, or a loneliness that gnaws deeper than you admit aloud. And if you did, take heart. Because recognition is not the end of your story. It's the beginning. They are not punishments. They are invitations. Invitations to reclaim your strength. Rebuild your foundation. Rewrite the chapters ahead. Your body is not betraying you. It's begging you to pay attention, to lean in, to fight not just for more years, but for better years. You are still the author. The pen has not yet fallen from your hand. In my years of practice, I have met men and women who defied the odds. A woman who survived 2 heart attacks and still ran a charity 5K at 81. A man who lost his wife and best friend in the same year, and yet built a new circle of friends from scratch at 79. A grandmother who, after being diagnosed with early cognitive decline, started learning French for the first time, and lived joyfully into her 90s. They weren't superhumans. They were simply people who chose not to surrender. They heard the whispers of their bodies, and instead of turning away in fear, they leaned in with courage. And so can you. Longevity is not a lottery you win. It's a garden you tend. Every day, every choice, every breath. The seeds you plant now, in your balance, your grip, your steps, your sleep, your meals, your peace of mind, and your connections, will bloom into the life you get to live 5, 10, 20 years from now. So today, ask yourself, am I planting seeds of strength, or seeds of surrender? Because while none of us can predict every twist of fate, we all have the power, starting now, to tip the scales toward a future filled with vitality, dignity, and joy. I invite you, gently but urgently, to take one action today. Stand on one leg. Call an old friend. Go for a walk. Cook a beautiful meal. Breathe deeply. Laugh freely. Sleep soundly. Each small act is a quiet rebellion against decline. Each is a vote for life. And if you begin today, there is no telling how beautifully your story may unfold. If you found a piece of yourself in these words, if you heard even a faint echo of your own future calling, I invite you to share your thoughts below. What sign resonated with you most? What is one change you feel inspired to make starting today? Your voice matters. And your journey is far from over. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing life. Until we meet again, keep walking bravely forward. The best is yet to come. If you want a glimpse into your future, you don't need a fortune teller. You just need to lift one foot off the ground. I still remember a woman named Helen, a lively 72-year-old who visited my clinic for a routine checkup. As she laughed about her latest garden project, I asked her casually, "Helen, can you stand on one leg for 10 seconds?" She chuckled, humored by the simplicity of the request, and lifted her right foot. 5 seconds in, her body wobbled like a leaf in the wind. 7 seconds, and she had to grab the exam table to steady herself. At first glance, it seemed trivial, a mere moment of imbalance. But to me, it was like seeing the first few cracks on a mighty dam. You see, balance is far more than physical coordination. It is an elegant symphony between your muscles, your nervous system, and your brain. And when one instrument falls out of tune, the entire performance suffers. Scientific studies have consistently found that people who cannot balance on one leg for at least 10 seconds are at a substantially higher risk of falls, injuries, cognitive decline, and even early mortality. Why? Because balance is a full body health test disguised as a simple movement. When you stand on one leg, you're quietly asking your body, are your legs strong enough to support you? Is your brain sharp enough to maintain equilibrium? Is your nervous system responsive enough to make micro adjustments? Helen's struggle wasn't just about weak ankles or aging joints. It was a whisper from her body, warning her. You need to strengthen your foundation before it gives way. I once worked with two brothers, Frank and David, both in their early 70s. Frank had always loved hiking, even in his retirement. David preferred the couch and remote control. When I asked them both to attempt the one-leg test, Frank stood tall, like an ancient oak tree, unwavering for nearly 30 seconds. David, however, stumbled after barely 5. Fast forward 3 years. Frank was still leading nature walks for seniors. David had suffered a hip fracture from a minor fall and was battling depression after months of limited mobility. The difference? Not luck. Not genes. Balance, nurtured and protected, made all the difference. I invite you to try it now. Stand near a wall or chair for safety. Lift one foot about an inch off the ground. Close your eyes if you want an extra challenge. Can you stand steady for 10 seconds? Or do you sway, wobble, or quickly reach for support? If you struggle, don't panic. You're not doomed. But you are being given an invitation, a chance to rebuild your strength before life forces you to. The beauty of balance is that it can be improved at any age. Simple exercises like standing on one foot while brushing your teeth, walking heel to toe across your living room, practicing slow Tai Chi movements in the morning sun. These humble rituals can transform your stability, boost your confidence, and fortify your future. Balance isn't just a physical act. It's a metaphor for life itself. When we lose our balance, physically or emotionally, we fall. When we train it, nurture it, and respect it, we stand taller, live fuller, and journey longer. So today, ask yourself, am I standing strong, or am I already beginning to lean? Because your ability to balance now may very well decide how long you keep walking freely into the chapters yet unwritten. But balance is only one side of the story. The strength in your hands, the very grip with which you hold on to life, may tell an even deeper tale about your future. When you shake someone's hand, you're not just greeting them. You're revealing a truth about your own vitality. I first realized the profound importance of grip strength early in my career. I was examining Mr. Allen, an 80-year-old farmer whose skin was weathered by decades of sun but whose handshake remained as firm as a young man's. I smiled and said, "You've still got the grip of a lion." He winked and replied, "You can't tend the earth with weak hands, Doc." Little did I know back then that his words held a wisdom far deeper than poetry. Today, medical research confirms, grip strength is one of the clearest indicators of overall health and longevity. Your hands are an extension of your nervous system, your muscles, and your circulatory health. A weakening grip often signals loss of muscle mass, sarcopenia, declining nerve function, poor cardiovascular health, increased systemic inflammation. In fact, studies have shown that weak grip strength is associated with higher rates of falls, greater likelihood of hospitalization, increased risk of death from cardiovascular disease and cancer. Think about it. If your hands are growing weaker, chances are, so is the rest of your body. Let me tell you about two old friends, Richard and Samuel. Both were 76. Both had lived full lives. Richard was a retired school teacher who stayed active, gardening and occasionally lifting small hand weights. Samuel, a former accountant, spent most of his time indoors, shuffling papers and watching television. When I asked them each to squeeze a simple hand dynamometer, a device that measures grip strength, the results were telling. Richard's grip was firm and steady. Samuel's was feeble, as if life itself was slipping through his fingers. Within a few years, Richard remained mobile and independent, still tending his rose garden every morning. Samuel, sadly, suffered multiple falls, developed pneumonia after a hip fracture, and his health deteriorated rapidly. It wasn't fate. It was the silent erosion of strength that went unnoticed for too long. You don't need fancy equipment to gauge your grip. Right now, try this simple test. Clench your hand into a fist as tightly as you can for 5 seconds. Open a tight jar lid. Carry a heavy grocery bag for a few steps. Do these tasks feel natural and strong, or clumsy and tiring? If you notice weakness, don't despair. Grip strength is one of the most trainable aspects of aging. Small daily practices can create major results. Squeeze a tennis ball for 30 seconds at a time, switching hands. Use hand grippers, cheap, portable, effective. Carry light weights, even bags of rice, during walks. Practice hanging from a bar, even 10 seconds can build amazing strength. Every squeeze, every lift, every grasp is a small defiance against decline. Your hands are the anchors to your independence. They cook your meals, write your memories, hold the hands of those you love. When you strengthen your grip, you're not just building muscle, you're holding on to the life you want to keep living. So tomorrow, when you greet someone, pay attention to your handshake. Is it the handshake of strength, or a silent signal calling for renewal? Because how firmly you grasp life today could very well determine how long you get to hold it tomorrow. But even a strong grip means little if your steps falter. Next, let's explore how the simple rhythm of your walking pace can quietly predict your longevity. When I watch an elderly person walk into my office, I see more than just footsteps. I see a living indicator of heart strength, brain sharpness, and resilience, or the slow, painful whispers of decline. Walking speed, my friend, is not a trivial detail. It is a living signature of your biological age, often more accurate than the number on your birth certificate. Decades of research have revealed a striking truth. Those who walk briskly and confidently in their later years tend to live longer, healthier lives. Those who slow down significantly often face rising risks of heart disease, dementia, disability, and even premature death. Why? Because walking is one of the most complex full-body activities you perform daily. It requires strong muscles to propel you forward, a sharp brain to coordinate balance and rhythm, a healthy heart and lungs to deliver oxygen efficiently, responsive nerves to adjust instantly to tiny changes underfoot. When your walking pace slows unnaturally, it often signals that one or more of these systems is beginning to falter, quietly, but dangerously. Two patients come to mind, Mr. Thompson and Mr. Hayes, both 75 years old. Mr. Thompson walked into the clinic with a spring in his step. His stride was purposeful, balanced, almost joyful. Mr. Hayes shuffled slowly, taking hesitant steps, needing frequent pauses even over short distances. They were born the same year, had similar medical histories, but vastly different futures. 3 years later, Mr. Thompson was still traveling, gardening, attending his granddaughter's soccer games. Mr. Hayes had been hospitalized twice for falls, was now using a walker, and had significantly declined cognitively. Their divergence didn't happen overnight. It was predicted, quietly but clearly, by the rhythm of their footsteps years before. Here's a simple home test. Mark a 10-foot stretch of hallway or driveway. Time how long it takes you to walk at your usual pace. Healthy older adults typically cover 10 feet in under 7 seconds. If it takes significantly longer, or if your steps feel hesitant, uneven, or unstable, it's a call to action. And here's the good news. You can rebuild your stride. Daily practices that can make a profound difference. Regular brisk walks, even 10 minutes at a time. Strength training for legs, simple squats or step-ups. Balance drills, such as walking heel to toe in a straight line. Cardiovascular conditioning, like light cycling or swimming. Every step you strengthen today is a step you add to your future. How you move through the world reflects how you move through life. A steady, confident stride says, I am resilient. I am connected. I am alive. But a faltering gait is your body's quiet plea for help. So ask yourself, am I moving through life with purpose and energy, or am I letting each step grow slower, smaller, sadder? Because if you nurture your steps today, you're not just walking into your future, you're charging into it. Of course, movement is only half the equation. How you recover, especially how you sleep, holds the other half of the secret to lasting vitality. If walking tells the story of your days, sleep tells the story of your nights. And my friend, the story unfolding while you sleep may quietly shape your destiny. Throughout my years caring for older adults, I've learned that the quality of your sleep is not just about feeling rested. It's about how well your body repairs, rejuvenates, and defends itself against the silent forces of aging. During deep sleep, your body enters a sacred workshop. Damaged cells are repaired. Hormones critical for strength and immunity are balanced. Waste products in your brain, such as the toxins associated with Alzheimer's, are flushed away. Memories are consolidated, emotional wounds soothed. When sleep is fractured, inconsistent, or shallow, this miraculous nightly repair process breaks down. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, your health begins to unravel. Scientists have shown that poor sleep quality is linked to faster cognitive decline, higher blood pressure, weakened immune function, greater risk of heart disease and diabetes. Yet in my experience, many seniors normalize restless nights, saying, "Oh, it's just part of getting old." No, it's not just aging. It's a warning, and one we must heed. I once treated two women, Mrs. Evans and Mrs. Park, both vibrant at 74. Mrs. Evans had a lifelong habit of consistent sleep hygiene, going to bed at the same time, keeping her room dark and cool, avoiding screens before bedtime. Mrs. Park, on the other hand, suffered from fragmented sleep. She stayed up late, fell asleep to television noise, and woke multiple times during the night. At first, the difference between them seemed small, a little more yawning, a little less energy. But by 78, Mrs. Evans was still sharp, mobile, and socially active. Mrs. Park struggled with memory lapses, fatigue, and had her first minor stroke. Their divergence began not with a diagnosis, but with 1,000 neglected nights. Ask yourself, do you fall asleep within 20 to 30 minutes of lying down? Do you stay asleep without waking more than once a night? Do you wake feeling refreshed? If the answer to any of these is no, it's time to intervene, not later, now. Simple steps can create profound improvements. Establish a sacred bedtime routine, same time every night. Limit screen exposure, at least 1 hour before bed. Expose yourself to natural sunlight each morning to reset your circadian rhythm. Avoid caffeine, heavy meals, and alcohol late in the day. Create a cool, quiet, dark sleep environment, a true haven for rest. Remember, sleep is not a luxury. It's your body's ultimate survival tool. Every night, your body holds a secret meeting with itself. It repairs. It fortifies. It prepares you to meet another day. If you squander those sacred hours, the cracks in your health grow wider. But if you honor your sleep, you give your body the ammunition it needs to protect and extend your life. So tonight, ask yourself, am I giving my body the peace it needs to heal? Because the dreams you foster in restful sleep tonight may just be the reason you wake stronger tomorrow. But healing doesn't stop when you open your eyes. The fuel you choose to nourish your waking hours plays just as vital a role in shaping your longevity. After you've slept, your body awakens, not just needing movement, but nourishment. And the way you answer that call each day reveals how well you are truly aging. Over the years, I've come to realize, changes in appetite aren't random. They are your body's quiet language, whispering secrets about your vitality, your resilience, even your risk of decline. After 70, maintaining a healthy appetite and a balanced diet becomes one of the most powerful determinants of longevity. When you eat well, muscles stay strong. The immune system remains vigilant. Energy stays high. The mind stays sharp. But when appetite wanes, or when nutrition falls apart, the consequences ripple through the body like a slow-moving storm. Research has shown that unintentional weight loss in older adults is associated with greater risk of frailty, increased hospitalizations, cognitive impairment, higher mortality. And yet, so often, seniors shrug off poor appetite as normal. It's not normal. It's a red flag we must never ignore. Let me introduce you to Margaret and Susan, both 74. Margaret loved her kitchen. She cooked colorful meals filled with vegetables, fish, nuts, and fruits. She ate slowly, savoring every bite, often inviting her grandchildren over to share in the feast. Susan, once an energetic woman, found herself losing interest in food. Meals became burdens. She'd snack on processed foods, skip breakfast, sometimes forget lunch altogether. By 78, Margaret's energy radiated through her movements and conversations. She was still volunteering at local shelters, gardening, and planning trips. Susan, however, had become frail. Her muscles had visibly wasted away, she struggled with balance, and frequent infections became her unwelcome companions. Their paths diverged not because of chance, but because of what they chose to nourish themselves with each day. Ask yourself honestly. Have you noticed less interest in food? Are you unintentionally losing weight? Do meals feel more like chores than pleasures? If so, listen carefully. Your body is asking for help. Simple practices to restore healthy eating habits. Eat small, frequent meals rather than forcing large ones. Prioritize whole, nutrient-rich foods, colorful vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats. Enhance flavors naturally with herbs and spices if taste buds have dulled. Make meals social events whenever possible. Companionship often rekindles appetite. Stay hydrated. Dehydration can falsely suppress hunger. Above all, treat eating not as a mechanical duty, but as a daily act of self-respect and survival. Food is not just fuel, it is your body's daily vote for life. When you neglect your appetite, you erode your foundation. But when you cherish each meal, when you honor the sacred ritual of nourishing your body, you fortify the very life you seek to extend. So today, ask yourself, am I feeding my future, or starving it slowly? Because every bite you savor today might just be another day you get to savor tomorrow. But even the best nutrition can't fully shield you if another silent predator is left unchecked. Chronic, unrelenting stress, the invisible enemy that steals your years without warning. Imagine building a beautiful house, brick by brick, hour by hour. Now imagine a silent intruder creeping in at night, loosening the nails, weakening the beams, crumbling the foundation, one day at a time. That intruder is chronic stress. And if you're over 70, its impact on your body is even more profound than you might think. When you experience stress, your body releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, intended to help you survive immediate threats. In short bursts, this is protective. But when stress becomes chronic, day after day, year after year, those same chemicals raise your blood pressure, suppress your immune system, accelerate inflammation throughout your body, damage your heart and blood vessels, impair memory and cognitive function. Over time, chronic stress doesn't just make you feel miserable, it actually accelerates aging at the cellular level. And the cruelest part? Most people don't even realize how deeply stress has woven itself into the fabric of their daily lives. Consider John and Richard, both 76 years old. John faced the same challenges life threw at everyone: health scares, financial worries, family conflicts. But he had learned to breathe through them, to find humor amidst hardship, to trust that storms always pass. Richard, however, carried every burden like a sack of stones. He brooded over small slights. He obsessed over news headlines. He rarely laughed anymore. At first, the difference between them was invisible. But by their late 70s, John still had a lightness in his step, a sparkle in his conversation. Richard's health had declined sharply: high blood pressure, insomnia, memory issues. Their minds and bodies bore the long-term scars of how they chose to handle the invisible battles of life. Ask yourself, do you often feel overwhelmed by daily life? Do small problems spiral into big anxieties? Do you carry anger, sadness, or fear longer than necessary? If so, it's time to equip yourself with better tools. Simple, daily practices that make a profound difference. Deep, slow breathing, 5 minutes a day resets your nervous system. Mindfulness or meditation, a few moments of stillness can anchor your mind. Laughter, watch a comedy, share a joke, lighten your heart. Movement, gentle walking, dancing, or stretching releases built-up tension. Connection, share your worries with someone you trust. You are not meant to carry them alone. Remember, stress is inevitable. Suffering unnecessarily is optional. Life doesn't wait for us to feel ready or perfect. But life always rewards those who adapt, who release, who choose peace over chaos. Each day you allow stress to dominate your body is a day stolen from your strength, your clarity, your joy. Each day you master your response to stress, you reclaim a piece of your future. So today, ask yourself, am I allowing stress to weaken me, or am I learning to dance through the storms? Because every time you choose calm over chaos, you carve another day of strength into the story of your life. But there's one more pillar holding up your future that we often overlook, perhaps the most human need of all: the power of connection, the life-extending magic of community and love. When I look back at my decades in medicine, one truth shines clearer than ever. People don't just die of disease. They often die of loneliness. In fact, I've seen it happen again and again. The body withers when the heart no longer feels connected, when laughter fades, when conversations dry up, when the warmth of human presence disappears. Human beings are not designed for isolation. We are wired to connect. And after 70, that need for belonging becomes as vital as oxygen. Multiple studies have confirmed it. Older adults who maintain strong social bonds live longer. Recover faster from illness. Have sharper memories. Maintain better physical health. Experience greater happiness and purpose. Conversely, social isolation is as damaging to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, obesity, sedentary lifestyle, chronic stress. Loneliness doesn't just feel bad. It rewires the brain for negativity, weakens the immune system, and accelerates physical decline. In other words, connection is not a luxury, it is a survival tool. Let me tell you about Eleanor and Barbara, both 78 years old. Eleanor, despite losing her husband a decade earlier, refused to withdraw from life. She joined a book club, volunteered at a local shelter, hosted Sunday brunches for her friends. Barbara, after her husband's death, slowly let her world shrink. She stopped accepting invitations. She stopped calling family. Her home grew quieter, lonelier. By 82, Eleanor's laugh lines deepened, her mind stayed sharp, and her health remained remarkably stable. Barbara struggled with depression, memory loss, and a cascade of health problems that seemed to come from nowhere. But it wasn't nowhere. It was the silent corrosion of isolation, day by day, heart by heart. Ask yourself, do I nurture meaningful conversations regularly? Have I let any relationships wither that I could revive? Am I making space in my life for laughter, companionship, and shared experiences? If you feel disconnected, you are not alone, and you can rebuild. Simple steps to restore the lifeline of connection. Reach out, call an old friend. Send a message. Schedule a coffee date. Join groups, book clubs, hobby classes, walking groups, where people gather, life happens. Volunteer, serving others not only builds bonds but restores meaning. Initiate, don't wait for others to invite you. Be the one who reaches out. It's never too late. And it's never too small. Even one genuine conversation can begin to mend a lonely heart. We are not meant to journey through life alone. Each hug, each smile, each shared memory becomes a thread weaving a stronger, richer tapestry of life. When you nurture your relationships, you don't just add years to your life, you add life to your years. So today, ask yourself, whose hand will I reach for? Because the bonds you strengthen today may be the very bridges that carry you into a longer, happier tomorrow. Now that we've uncovered the 7 vital signs whispering to us after 70, it's time to reflect. How many of these messages are you hearing? And how many are you ready to answer?